So I'm writing an article right now, and it's okay. So my mind is just on the article right now, but it's completely irrelevant to this conversation, what the article is about. But I'm just thinking how, like, my situation right now is the article was initially due last Friday, and today is Tuesday. I have class today at 2 o'clock. My teacher moved the deadline to today at 2 o'clock. I started the article today at 11:45, and it has to be 1,000 words. It has to pull from at least four different sources, one of which has to be a live person that I interviewed, which obviously haven't done that because I started today at 11:45. And I just, did a responsible student thing and emailed my professor and used the, like, oh, I've been working really hard on this article, but it simply isn't where I know it could be. And if I had a little bit more time, I guarantee I could make it so much better. I'm wondering, I know it might not be possible, and I understand if not, but could I have until the end of Thanksgiving break to complete this article? Because this is the last class I have before break. And it's true, it really is true that I know I could, like, make this article really good if I put in the time. But, like, I can only make excuses so many times. It's like that's my own fault for starting today at 11:45 when we've had several weeks to do this. But it's just like a matter of, like, priority. So 2 weeks ago, I had things that were due a week and 6 days ago. And so I had to get those done. And I just push this, push this, push this. And now this is the priority. And I have other homework that I should be working on too. And I was just thinking, like, I don't think I'm going to go to class because it's 1:34 right now. My class starts at 2. I'm on a roll writing this paper. I just emailed my professor. And I think I'm going to skip class and just keep writing it because I'm getting a lot of good ideas on, like, who I can interview and stuff. But, like, it's just such a habit for me at 20 years old and some days to, like, call my mom. And I was watching this, like, show or interview or something the other day where it was like a really fast-paced, quick-fire style interview, and it was like, who's the first person you call when blah 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 happens? And immediately the first answer was like, my mom. And then the audience was laughing, and the interviewer was like, you call your mom for that? And the interviewee was like, yeah, I still call my mom for everything. I call my mom when I don't know how to cook something. I call my mom when I need help getting my dog from the vet or groomer or whatever. I call my mom when I run out of gas and I'm stranded. I call my mom when blah, 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 when I have a cavity, whatever. It's like, that's just like the first thing. Like, I just call my mom for everything. And I'm 20 years old and I'm living at home. And so this is a very, different kind of situation, I guess, considering that I'm, like, an adult now. Like, I'm an adult, but, like, I'm so far from being an adult at the same time. And, like, I don't even know if you ever really become an adult then, because I guess to be an adult, you have to be financially independent and stable, and you have to be able to support yourself, and you still might need advice, because that's a very normal thing, needing advice. Um, but, like, I'm sitting in my childhood house right now. Like, I'm sitting at the table that I sat at every morning in elementary school and ate breakfast, you know? But now my life is completely different, and I'm in college, and I'm taking classes, and I'm working close to full time, between 2 or 3 different jobs, that is. And I'm like trying to call my mom and ask her if I can skip class. It's just like when is, like, crossing a bridge, like, there's no bridge from the life of a teenager in high school to the life of an adult, I feel like, or at least not for me. And I feel like college is that bridge for a lot of people, but that's a really big fucking bridge. That's a 4-year plus bridge. Because today, not a lot of people my age are financially independent until they're out of college and have their own job, or even later, because college is so expensive. And I can't imagine how anyone my age would be able to pay for their 4 years of college unless they were on a scholarship or going into a 2-year community college program. But even then, the amount of hours you'd have to work at a job that doesn't require a degree, you'd have no time for school. I'm just trying to figure out when my adult life is going to start and when my teenager life is officially done, because I still have no idea what I would do without my family and without their support, not only emotionally but financially, most of all. Because I don't know. It's just kind of crazy to me how in high school so many people, at least people in my situation, like I can't speak for anyone who has divorced parents or who has parents who won't pay for their school supplies, or parents who don't buy their food, or that kind of stuff. Like, obviously my parents don't do that as much for me anymore, but I still get so much from them. But like, speaking for myself, I went from somebody who in high school, my dad bought me a car. I had a job, so that's kind of making my own money, but I wouldn't have gotten that job if it weren't for my parents. They paid for all the food in the house. I lived with them for free, as most high schoolers do with their parents. They paid for my first and this year, second year of college. They paid for my insurance all through high school. They paid for my phone bill. It's just kind of wild thinking about all the expenses. And like, how can I go from that as an 18-year-old to all of a sudden, over the course of 4 years, when I am, supposed to be so focused on school, how could I just suddenly become completely financially independent with all of the costs that like, if this was a normal route for me, I would be paying, or I guess not a normal route, but in the course of that 4 years, it's expected that people in my age range switch from having their parents pay for all of that stuff to them paying for all of it. So rent, phone bill, internet, utilities, car insurance, health insurance. Well, some people health insurance, I guess it's 26, but gasoline, a car, food, clothing, and what else? I don't even know. I can't even think of anything else. Just like shit that you spend money on. If you want to rent a movie on a Friday night, you gotta pay $4 for that. Like, I don't know. I'm just talking at this point, but I'm kind of just like frustrated hearing about how my parents were financially independent except for tuition, which was only $500 a semester when they were in college. They paid for all their own food, their housing, their clothes, their whatever. And I'm still so dependent on my parents at the same age that they were. They were completely independent. but it's such a different time. And I think that that has failed to be recognized. And I can't even really decipher how it's different because I wasn't alive in that time and I have not that much knowledge of how much it was different. But I know that everything was less expensive. Obviously, inflation happened for prices, but not as much for wages, which is really problematic. My mom had 3 jobs in college, and she said that she did the best in school when she had those 3 jobs, which is unbelievable to me because that is the complete opposite of how I am. I'm taking only 2 college courses right now. I have a 12-hour-a-week internship. I work approximately 25 to 30 hours a week at my harbor job, and I babysit approximately 7 to 10 hours a week, I'd say. And that's a lot, and I'm not doing that hot with my school stuff. Obviously, as I mentioned earlier, with this paper that's due in 17 minutes and is not even halfway done. It's just not how it works today. And I don't know. I seriously don't know if it's because kids today, myself included, are just lazier than back then, or the expectations were looser for us growing up, and we were given participation awards and told that we were doing really great, even if our painting looked like shit, our parents would say, wow, that's beautiful. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, because all of that feedback and praise for attempting I was given growing up certainly shaped me into the person I am today. But I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing at this point.